Very important conversation. President Bola Tinubu has ordered a manhunt for the terrorists responsible for killing 42 people and abducting several others in Niger State. Now, the attack occurred in Kaswandaji village, where gunmen opened fire on residents, touched stalls, and looted food items. The Northern State Governors Forum has thrown in weight behind President Tinubu's order, calling on security agencies to intensify efforts to track down and apprehend those responsible. Joining us for this very important conversation from our Abuja studio is President CEO Security Watch Africa Initiative. He is also a security consultant, Patrick Agbambu. Good morning, sir. How are you doing? Good morning, sir. Can you hear me?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much.
Good. I'm happy to have you on the show, but it's sad that we're going to speak on this topic. You know, we're talking about insecurity, and we're starting the year still talking about it. We saw what happened in Niger State. We saw what happened in Kaswandaji. Earlier on, we were speaking about how popular that market is. A lot of people go there for trade. And we saw how these terrorists not just attacked, killed, stole food, and even took, some people, they've taken some people away. Parents are crying that please bring our children. It's a very sad topic, and even we as journalists just talking about it, you feel really, really sad. But the president is now making bold moves. He's come out to say that we need to fight this. We need to manhunt and make sure that we get these people. I want to speak about forest guards. I wanted to talk about it because we know that the president had mentioned, something like that before. Where are we with forest guards as we speak now, Mr. Patrick?
Yeah, thank you so much. It's actually very sad that this has continued to reoccur every now and then, and it's troubling that so many Nigerians will be killed by these criminal elements, these non-state actors that has made life very unbearable for Nigerians. It's so sad about it, and the president is right to have given a charge to the security agencies to do the needful by making sure that these criminals are gotten and that those adopted are released. But to me, it should be more than that. I think that, yes, the initiative of the forest guard is there, but I slightly disagree with that because how equipped are these forest guard? How equipped would they be to face this team? And is it that our military cannot face them, that there's need for another agency? Or is it something that you could have recruited this and submerged them into an existing security forces and giving them more powers? So there are a lot of things that affect the structure of the forest guard that still have not been able to tidy it up. But seriously speaking, I think that there is need for everybody's hand to be on deck on this issue. It's not the matter of the president alone. It's not a matter of the federal government alone. There are so many subnationals that are not doing their responsibility, and that is why we're having what we're having. We must call a spade because it's getting too much. We can't continue this way.
Yeah, I think it's quite important to know more about the operations of the forest guard, particularly when the 7,000 recruited currently are going to focus on northeast and northwest. What do you think can be done again in terms, particularly when you look at the fact that the borders are porous, and what else can be done, to boost the effectiveness of not only the forest guard, but also to ensure that we prevent terrorists from moving into the country from other countries?
Yeah, seriously speaking, there are some of the what we think should be done that cannot be made public, because I know that even the bandits and their agents, their sympathizers and their partners in terms of economy are watching, and so they will also be advising them to be watchful. But seriously speaking, I think, like I said earlier, I believe that the subnationals, the local government, I can't stop talking about it because that is the major plank that we need to be able to get this issue resolved. And until that part of government is working, then we'll continue to go round, because Kasua, Daji, where these things happen, the market, and other environments, Agwara and some other communities are feeling these pains. And then I interacted with somebody who resides in Agwara yesterday, and he said that this thing has been on for some time, and they have not gotten any succor from anybody. In fact, the truth is that they have not felt any government presence, and who is supposed to be doing that? I believe that the local government and the state government have left these people to the hands of these bandits to be attacking them at will. And what we can see right now is that they are targeting soft targets, where areas that are far-flung from accessibility from the security forces. And while the attack in Kasua Daji is going on, there were some other attacks in some other neighboring communities attacking simultaneously, and that is also a tactic to divide the attention of the security forces, and that we already are crying that they're overstretched. So, seriously speaking, we need to be able to do more than what we are doing. I think that the local government should come in, and I would permit me to also use this opportunity to maybe call on Mr. President and ask him that there is need to declare a total state of emergency in area of security in those states where we are having this recurring problem. If you remember, during the tenure of President Olusegun Obasanjo, because of the incidents going on in Jos, in Plateau State then, the president declared state of emergency and appointed a sole administrator who had a martial power to be able to deal decisively with these people. And that provided some level of succor, but subsequently what needed to be done didn't continue, and that is why we keep on having the same issue coming up again. I think that in most of these communities where we are having this thing, if there's need to carry out the strong arm of government and show might this time around so that these criminals can be flushed out, we should not be toying with it, because it's affecting the image of the country, it's affecting the life of the country, it's affecting economy seriously. So it's time for Mr. President to not just said, the security agencies should do their force. They also have a restriction on the security agencies, because there are a level of equipment, platforms they cannot use in some of these communities because they are innocent people. Like in the situation in the market, security agencies, even if they have tried to confront these people, they will be putting the lives of the community, innocent people are in danger. But when you declare state of emergency, then people will be made to evacuate those areas, and this will give a head-on charge to the security forces to do their work. If there's need to do a level carpet bombing so that we can have it. But more than that, it's not just about kinetic operations. There is need to carry out aggressive non-kinetic operations so that you can buy these people back, because there are so many of these people that have lost hope. The person I spoke with in Agwara believed that there's nothing the government is doing to protect them, and they have totally lost hope. They need to be reassured when you do something that seems to be protecting them.
Absolutely. Mr. Agbambu, thank you so much. You've just mentioned, and that was very moving, hope is a very, very fragile thing that must be protected, and it's important that the government is working towards renewing that hope. But my question is a two-part question. Now, we know that incidents and attacks like Kasua Daji don't happen in isolation, and these vulnerable communities often appear blindsided despite similar attacks and similar raids in the same region. You know, what are, for the residents of places like Niger State, what signs typically precede these sorts of attacks? And on the other hand, the president, as we know, has now ordered a manhunt for these terrorists. What does a manhunt look like practically on ground? Who will be deployed? Where? With what strategy and with what tech? Can you illuminate us, please?
Yeah, I didn't get the question clearly. The audio is a bit.
My audio. Shall I take that again?
Hello?
Can you hear Mr. Agbambu, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you a bit, but okay.
How about now? Is that any better?
If you can repeat the question.
Okay.
Yes, I said, Mr. Gabo, unfortunately, incidents like Kasuwandaji don't occur in isolation, and these vulnerable communities often still appear blindsided despite similar attacks in that same region. What signs, for the residents of places like Niger and other vulnerable communities, what signs typically precede these sorts of attacks so people can be on guard? On the other hand, we know that the president has now ordered a manhunt. I'm asking you to give us practical signs of what that, if you know, what that manhunt will look like, who will be deployed, with what tech, with what strategy.
Yeah, it's the strategy that, or the tactics that the bandits or these terrorists employ is that most times they use the adoptees, the people they have adopted, as a human shield against any aggressive attack from government. And that makes attacking these people aggressively very, very a bit difficult, because when you want to rescue the adoptees, the victims, alive and not with injuries or that, so you are restricted from going aggressively. So what you do is you have to try to infiltrate the camp, and that is one tactic that has not worked very effectively in Nigeria, because those security agencies that are charged to do this work have not been doing their work. We need to have some covert operations that will be able to get involved, even infiltrate these criminal groups. We have seen it worked out in the Northeast during the height of the crisis over there. We have seen some security forces slightly embedded into these criminal groups, and they provide timely and all the plans and activities, and that aids the security agencies to work. But with situations where you do not have somebody inside who will give you some clandestine information, it becomes a bit more difficult in terms of attack. Of course, unless if we are being allowed to use some level of high-grade security method that will be able to a bit incapacitate some of them. But in that regard, we may face some human rights accusations by international agencies. So it becomes, I think the best thing for us to do is to be able to have stopped this from happening and not allow it to happen by infiltrating the camps of these criminals and making sure that you extricate these adoptees alive without the criminals using them as human shield.
Good point. Good point, Mr. Agbambu. Because that's one of the angles I'd like us to talk about this morning, stopping this from happening. You are a player in this security sector, and what we've been battling in this country, security-wise, looks like a hydra-headed, should I say, entity now. What primarily should government be looking into to stop this from happening? That's one. Number two, at the regional levels, the state governors in this country right now, there is increased revenue from the FAC to the state governors, and there's something called security votes. So money has increased. Obviously, security vote will also escalate, and yet everybody is still looking at the center for solutions. When does the governors come into the architectural conversation to also stop this from continuing, so that whilst we're waiting for the military to come in to do whatever they can do, the structures in the state would have already handled this matter before it becomes a national embarrassment?
Thank you so much. You see, this is the bane of this issue we're talking about, the major thrust of what we're talking about. Like I said earlier, I said that the subnationals, that's talking about the local government and the state government, has left the issue totally and focus on the center. And that is the biggest problem. The state governor is the chief security officer of the state, and that is why he can draw what they call security votes that are not accounted for, and nobody knows how much most of them are spending. It's a deep pocket that for most of them that they've been using, and they're not using it actually for these security purposes. And that is where I would say that it seems that the state governors have become more powerful than even the president of the country, because they do what they think they can do and leave the whole problem for the federal to be battled with. And that shouldn't be. I believe that the state governors must own up to the responsibility of the people who voted them in office, who made them. Those are the authorities they have. Without those people, they definitely are not supposed to be there. So if they are not protecting them, then to me, their legitimacy is in question. And I think that they should do more than they are doing by not acting on what they are doing. Yes, infrastructure in terms of flyovers in the capital city is good. Buying luxury cars, those are when people are alive to drive them. But the most concentration should be protecting the people's life. And what can they do? There's so much they can do that are just low-hanging fruits that they can pluck. And that is one, by empowering the local governments. The issue about local government autonomy cannot be overstretched. We know the importance of it. And it has been challenged even to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has given judgment. And the state government have been asked to allow this judgment to be implemented. And we are still having most of them drawing back because there's a lot of money. It's all about the money that is accruing for the local governments. The state governments are having authority. We are saying that allow the local government to function. Get them to do what they should do. What we're saying now, for instance, if the people in Aguara, those areas where we're having attacks, have functional local government, they have somebody they can relate with easily. The local government chairman can rally around the security agencies that are in the local government. Every security agency has an office in those local government, maybe apart from maybe the Nigerian military, they may not be spread, but the police are everywhere. The Civil Defense Corps, they are everywhere. You have them, present, the DSS, they are everywhere. And you need to be able to have meetings with them. I have also tried to find out how frequent does local government chairman have security meetings with these people. It doesn't happen. Most times when it wants to happen, it happens in the state capital. Most of them don't go to their local government headquarters and have interaction with their people and find out. This is the problem. And
Mr. Agbambu, if you allow me, let me come in here again, sir. So we can bring another direction to that conversation. You're talking about the local government. Absolutely right. But part of the jurisdiction, security jurisdiction for the local government is this conversation of forest guards. Let's paint a scenario. So I'm a forest guard in the forest and I encounter a terrorist or a bandit who is armed. Talk to us as a security expert. What then can I do as one who is in that space to provide security without the security enablement? How can I function? And that brings to the conversation of the structuring of either the state police, security, forest guards, and the likes.
Yeah, you see, the truth of the matter here is that, like I said, I've also said it earlier, that I find it very funny and I find it very, very unrealistic for the crop of the 7,000 forest guards that has been recruited and trained and to be deployed to this forest to be able to do the work, because I tell you, they will not be able to do the work. We're just only, sorry to say this, sending some people for these bandits to play with, and that is not what it's meant for. If we're going to have a forest guard team, we should rather have a covert forest guard team that their own responsibility is to even behave as farmers and get information for the operational team. Get people who can go even as mechanics, people who can go who can act as if they are nomadic people, like cattle hiders, who will go into this forest and pretend as if they are cattle hiders, and pretend as if they are, and get information out for the security forces to strike, and not for them to carry AK-47 when you have some of these bandits and terrorists carrying submachine guns and a higher caliber firearms, and they're just going to give them, they're using drones. So I think that we must look at the structure very well and the purpose for this forest guard, you know, very effectively to be able to, for them to function well. Then the issue about the states have all the power. I do not see any state government that is having challenge with the commissioners of police in their states. I think that if a governor call a commissioner of police, this is what we need to do, this is what we need to do. And in agreement with what is happening, because everybody is worried about the insecurity in this country. You know, everybody is worried, apart from those that are making money from it, because there are people that are smiling to the bank. As we speak, the situation in Kaswa Dajibiko, that is the latest one that is made public. There are people who are celebrating it, who are not even the bandits, who are citizens, who pretend as if they are innocent, but they are part of the whole problem we are talking about. These are the responsibility of this covert team that should be able to get this information, and you get them. In
Mr.
Northeast, if you follow what is happening. Yes.
Mr. Patrick, can you hear me?
If you follow what is happening in the Northeast, okay.
No, you can go on, just close.
Yeah, if you follow what is... All right, are you asking any other question?
No, I want you to land and then I ask the question. You said if you follow it, so just land.
Okay, all right. Okay, if you follow what is happening in the Northeast, you will see that the focus have been towards arresting those who are enabling this crime, and their informants, their logistics suppliers, and all that. When you cut off this from them, then it makes the fight a more easier. I think that is what should be happening in the Northwest. It's not happening, but we have many people there that should be arrested and called to question.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Mr. Patrick. We can definitely go on and on, but our time will not permit us. And, you know, you said something. You said there's some people that are smiling to this. And if there's anything I'll say out there, if you're sponsoring terrorism or you are happy, a very big shame on you, because we're losing lives and properties. But thank you very much for your insights. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But, you know, from the conversations that, you know, we're having and just what he said, you know, that we still have people that are jubilating over people, you know, losing their lives. And I'm happy that he said what he said again, because in the beginning he was speaking about forest guards, Mr. Shomia, and it was like he doesn't think it's very important. But I would say that at this point, everything is important. Forest guards, state police, you know, just making sure that our military are there. Because looking at the Bogu local government as well, it's a place that is very far. You know, it's not a place close. So oftentimes you wonder, how quick can we get the police there? How quick can we get the military there? So I think that the forest guard is something that is very important. He said that they should disguise as farmers, as, you know, as mechanics. Not bad, but at least let's even have forest guards. Like, let these bandits also know that we have our hands on ground.
Yeah, it's not just that. You cannot have ungoverned space in your country.
That's right.
In any country in the whole world. I mean, it's a recipe for disaster. I mean, some people are moving through the bush. Yes, some people are living in the bush. We all know that we have our villages and everything. But it's a totally different situation when crimes are being perpetrated by those who are living in the bush and with no security presence. We used to have forest guards in the past. There's no doubt about that. Even in the 60s, we used to have forest guards and we had less crime. So I think we need to go back to it now, which is what I think the government is trying to do, to ensure that we do not leave our forest ungoverned. And the moment you do that, they will not only provide valuable intelligence to DSS, you know, in terms of the movement and what goes on in the forest. And it's a lot easier to pick up information, you know, when people are kidnapped, you know, to be able to get there in time to rescue them, rather than the state of helplessness that many people feel and then end up paying ransom. So I think it's quite important.
And you know, if we look at that Bogu local government, like I said, it's a place that is very far. So oftentimes, I'm sure these terrorists also saw it as, you know, nobody's going to be around here, and all, and that market is highly, you know, I was just watching the excerpts while we were talking to him, and even as a journalist, I have emotions. I am sad. I'm like, just seeing those families around there, you know, also seeing parents saying, bring back our children. it's horrifying for me, and I feel like anything we can do at this point is what we should do.
Honestly, team, that was a very, very insightful conversation from Mr. Agbambu. I got greater insight into the mechanics of these terrorists when he mentioned that it's hard to track these terrorists down accurately because they are using citizens and residents as human shields. When we think of a human shield, what is that? You put another person in front of you to bear the brunt of your bullet, to bear the brunt of the bloodshed. That is very, very scary. Now, Mr. Shomi, you just mentioned right now that we had forest guards in the 60s and 70s.
Yes.
I didn't know that. And so what that tells me is that there not just needs to be, and they don't need to just bring them back, but they need to metamorphosize the way that they are brought back. You know, that covert approach that he mentioned, having these forest guards as mechanics, as herders, it is very, very important because these terrorists are morphing before our very eyes. They are advancing in their intelligence and in their schemes, and we must do well to follow suit.
And Nelson, also making sure that, you know me, when I talk like this, I talk like this. Also making sure that these forest guards we're getting will not be the ones that now these bandits will now be, using them. They will now plant together. So even it's a process. You know, even these people we're getting, we need to make sure we're getting uptight people that actually believe, in Nigeria, believe in keeping people safe.
Absolutely. So first of all, the forest guard thing is just a nomenclature. You know, the security memo under which they will operate is some of the things he was trying to list a bit earlier. Yeah. So before anybody gets enrolled into the forest, anybody gets enrolled into this forest guard structure, he or she has to be, I hope a she will be there, has to be vexed through, our intelligence corridors to bring what you said earlier, so that we are sure of who we put on the field. Now, the primary assignment is to provide intelligence. And so if we are able to decentralize them and disguise them into different sectors of our society, so that they can be positioned there to supply those kinds of intelligence of what is happening within corners that are, not where government really looks into.
Yes, especially that Boko.
Is very, very important. Now, not just Boko, it's all around our country. There are a lot of ungoverned spaces where heinous crimes can, go on for quite a while. So it's really important that we have these kinds of people positioned all around.
Very, very important, actually. We can go on and on.
Yeah, but let me quickly highlight one thing. Okay. Forest guard is not just about security, about terrorism.
Yes.
They play a very vital role in tackling economic saboteurs, people mining, felling timbers, mining our resources in the bush. So it's quite a very ill thing. And they are being vetted by the DSS and trained by the DSS.
But we'll have to go to Abuja quickly. Okay, all right, Olamide, okay.
Yes, sorry, I was trying to make a point and I didn't want to forget.
Okay, yeah.
I like the fact that if ever we had a reason to implement the Supreme Court ruling, that funding should go directly to state
the local government
and local government, this more than ever is an incentive to remind us. We have a security expert right now that has come on this set and he has told us, look, things will change if they are getting the money directly. Not only do we have people to hold accountable for these funds, but they understand the nomenclature of their communities. Better than the federal government ever will. So if this was ever an incentive, the time is now for that Supreme Court ruling to be put in place.
I totally agree with you, Olamide. And, just before we go to Abuja, Nelson, let me ask you this particular question, because we've spoken about insecurity a lot, that I feel that right now, if you even call me, I can speak a lot about it. I feel like if I would lecture about it, I'm not a security expert, because we've been speaking about it, we've been looking for solutions. But, Nelson, do you think that we continue to we are not proactive? We are waiting for the thing to happen, because Nelson, this thing has happened in Niger State before. This is not the first time. So what lessons are we picking for when it happens, for it not to happen again?
And it's not even so far ago when it happened in Niger State. And the security agencies are still yet to get the commander or the person who gave the authorization for the soldiers who were guarding that school to leave. Hence, we saw what happened. We can handle this, Ria, if we are really willing to. There are a lot of security data and statistics that has tracked the trends and the patterns of insecurity in the country. We have that information. Now, what the government needs to then do is to use that data and then develop a strategy around nipping those patterns, pegging the flashpoints of those patterns according to science now, so that we then know what to do per time wherever. But the wahala we keep having, Olamide and Ria and Mr. Shomi, is political and corruption in high places, because it's like we sit here together and decide on what we want to do, and then one of us goes and sabotages what we have agreed to do. That's always what we get to see at the end of the day. And so it is not that insecurity in this country is so superpowered that the government of Nigeria cannot handle. Is that always along the security architecture,
conflicting interests,
along political architecture as well, there are a lot of saboteurs who always sabotage government.
One scary thing for me is that you now wonder that they say that, we also have Nigerians, we also have political, allegedly, we also have political, figures sponsoring this because they have things to gain. I'm not going to mention names who are national TV, but sometimes there are speculations of some names that you feel like you hear that these people. So why are we not catching these people? Why are we not arresting these people? Why do we keep making statements that, we know where, some people say we know where the bandits are, some people say we know the people sponsoring them. Why are they not behind bars? What are we waiting for? Why are we talking?
And don't forget, our criminal justice system, is rule-based, and to arrest anybody, you need the evidence. You don't arrest somebody on allegations of terrorism without getting the evidence.
Show me some of them. There's evidence, but continue.
You don't have those evidence, do you?
I don't know about whether we have the evidence. Don't forget, the risk of not convicting somebody would lead to more problems. I mean, you have allegations of victimization, witch hunt, and all that. But with a proper investigation, by the security services and with evidence available, of course, people will be held before the court. We gave an example of Bauchi State earlier, where a commissioner they were able to track a commissioner paying to a Miyetti Allah, leader, to fund their operations and from the state resources, rather than using that resources to protect the people of that state. So immediately the governor came out, it's political persecution. To use your money, the state's resources, public wealth, to fund terrorism. How is that persecution?
I'm so curious, Mr. Shomi, what did the forest guard, very quickly, I know you have to go on a break, but what did the forest guard look like in the 60s?
No, look.
What did it look like?
Because, the issue of illegal felling of timber was very prevalent in those days. And the forest guards were there to ensure that was not happening. And in addition to that, people do commit crimes and run away into the bush. Along the line, the forest guard will provide useful information for the Nigerian police force to pick up those characters. But today, we now know that they exploit our gold, all our mineral resources, in the bush. So the forest guard will not only complement the efforts of the security services on terrorism, but they will also help to prevent the illegal mining of.
Mr. Shomi, you step on another gold mine when you mention that gold matter.
Nelson, we'll talk. We'll talk. Actually, we'll go on this quick break, and when we come back, we're still talking about this very important conversation. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us.